Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business, and today I have an incredible guest, Travis Fox. Travis is founder of Architect of Being, and our topic today is how thoughts become things. Welcome to the show, Travis.
Mark, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to a conversation with you today. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Travis is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Travis, can you share a little about yourself and your business?
Yeah, glad to, Mark. I'm actually in the self-transformational business. I help people remind themselves and recall who they already are before we decided to become something else, before we decided to become, cool, or we decided to become cliche, or we decided to be conformant to the world. I spent the last 30 years of my life helping companies and cultures develop brands and cultures. And I realized that in that cultural development, it's really about people. And so I developed the Architect of Being Training Academy, which helps you truly architect your life. And now architect becomes a dualistic thing of, well, who's really running the show? As we talked about, how do thoughts become things? Well, all of us have these two things, Mark. We have these thoughts of, well, this is who I really think I am. This is who I like being, or I think I like being. And then we have these other thoughts that come out of seemingly nowhere that say, no, Mark, you shouldn't do that. People will think you're crazy. People are going to think you're nuts. People are going to think you've gone off the rails. That's not the way you should do it. We don't do things that way in this family, whatever. And we find ourselves in a constant conflict internally in our own world. And yet here's the irony of the whole thing. We have no idea where these thoughts come from. We have no idea how to control them. And yet we are truly subject to the whims of a mad mind. And we truly drive ourselves, in some cases, a little bit nuts trying to solve this conflict. And yet when we go through our educational and university or whatever schooling we go through, we never really help people run and architect, their lives, but more importantly, how does your mind and your heart work together in this thing we call the human spacesuit, the human body? And so for the last 30 years, I've helped companies and people and cultures develop a system where they can truly step by step wake themselves up, understand how their thoughts are becoming things, what are the belief structures that are driving them, and most importantly, drive down to the emotional state from which A, that belief came from, or B, where they want to go, and do it in a way that they can see it clinically, they can understand how to apply it, and then ultimately and most importantly, experience it in their own life and in their own company. And that's kind of a background about me.
Firstly, I totally relate to everything you've just said. I have had good mindset and I've had bad mindset. And like you say, those thoughts can take over your mind. Also with heart coherence as well. I always say when you're coming from the heart, it feels good because that's how you can tell you're living from the heart, because it feels good when you are doing that. So I really, really am inspired by the work that you're doing, Travis. Can I take you back to your past a little bit? What challenges have you had to overcome?
Oh, wow. How long's the show?
As long as you need. You're my guest.
Well, you're very kind. I've had to overcome many challenges, and we'll just kind of macrorize them, and then whichever one feels aligned for us to discuss for today, I'll go with you. I've had to overcome being abandoned by my biological father, And my mother and I, literally being the proverbial trailer park. I've had to overcome divorce, sexual abuse, psychological abuse. I've had to overcome perfectionism. I've had to overcome self-defeating negative thoughts. I've had to overcome the death of a dream that I was conditioned and programmed by my father, not my biological, my adopted father, who just passed, ironically, about a month ago, of what he wanted me to be for my life versus what I wanted to be for my life. I've had to overcome being a 3-time father at a very young age. I'm 49 now at the time of this interview, and I'm a grandfather, and I have been for 11 years. I've had to learn how to be a parent while I was still a child, which I'm sure many listeners have gone through that experience. I'm not alone there. I've had to learn that everything my university and schooling and all my educational background and all these fancy letters that are before and after my name that really didn't help anything when my third child was born, who was born autistic. And I've had to learn how to recommunicate in a way that schooling could never teach. And it became, ironically, one of my best teachers, but at the time was extraordinarily challenging. I've had to overcome, and everybody's overcome this one, so I don't think this one's a big deal, but I've had to overcome judgment. I've been on public stages most of my life, criticism, my own self-defeating processes. And most importantly, I think the biggest one that we would probably want to, I think your audience would probably benefit from if I may be so bold, is overcoming who I was told I was supposed to be in order to be defined as successful, cool, I've made it, this is the model life, this is what it's supposed to look like, versus what my heart really wants and has wanted, and I've been doing for the last 20 years, and had to overcome that conflict of how come it's not okay for me just to want what I want and be who I want to be without the concern of everything else that around me is going on, whether that's family, whether that's a religious construct, whether that's a cultural construct, or more importantly, the programming of my own subconscious mind and how these continual reminder thoughts would say, no, Mark, Travis, you can't go that direction. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what is right. This is what is wrong according to blank, as opposed to what does the heart really want, and what is the deeper meaning of my life for myself? What is the journey that I'm willing to take while I'm here on planet Earth before it goes away? Because it does go away, because there's only one truth we're all going to agree on, and that is none of us get out of this life alive. The question is, are we really, really willing to live our life unabashedly, unashamedly as ourselves and who we really want to be and what we want to experience? And I think that's the biggest one. And I will tell you, to this day, I'm still dealing with that, even though I'm this trainer, this coach, this world speaker, and all these other beautiful accolades. I'm still on the same journey everybody else is. So I would say of all of those, yeah. And I'm still on the journey, now at 49, getting ready to make the turn to go to the back nine of my proverbial golf round of life. It's now coming to that space of what would it be like if we played the back nine completely unafraid, unashamed, no guilt, but just from the space of, as you said, Mark, and I honor you for saying that, because it's so true. It's so simple, but we make it so complex at times, myself included. What feels good? Does it feel good or not? If it doesn't, don't do it. Don't experience it. Don't say it. Don't participate. And if it feels good, jet thrusters on, go as fast as you can and as fast as your beautiful heart will take you, experience it, because we're not getting out of this life alive. And isn't it time we start really living our truth? Because all we're doing is spending most of our time just hypnotizing ourselves that we really are happy, or we really are, feel successful, we really feel good, our self-value, our self-esteem, when we really know deep down inside in places we don't want to talk about at cocktail parties and events, we all just want to be beautifully in love in an unconditional space and accepted, and we want to offer that in return, because at the end of the day, that's all there really is going to be, and we all know that. But we're so good at hypnotizing ourselves into believing something else and to doing something else that we wake up one day and you're 60 or 70 years old, and it's gone by in a blink of an eye, and you've gone, crap, I don't get to do it over again, at least not in this spacesuit. You might come back as a donkey probably a different experience though. So that's what I would say I've overcome. Those are some of the big ones.
Travis, I really, really respect you for sharing all that with me. Thank you. And going back to abandonment and psychological abuse, I'm very, very aware of those fears and insecurities and all the other challenges that you have overcome. But now I totally understand why you are so good at what you do, because you have had to work on all of these belief systems yourself. I can only imagine that would be hours and hours, years and years of your own personal development journey. And that's why you can go on and really help others, because of the challenges you have overcome. So, Travis, can you tell me, what clients do you serve? Who are your clients? Who do you serve?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, for acknowledging that. And I think that if you're right, I always tell people I'm a 30-year overnight success. Right? It's been a long journey, but now we're making the turn on the back nine, and now we've done all the practicing, we've done the 14,000 hours on stage, we've done the 10,000 hours of training, we've done the work, we've traveled around the world, we've sat with masters, we've done all of these things, and now we're ready, right? When we thought we were ready before, but now we're really ready, because now we are. So thank you for that. The answer to your second question is, well, I mean, how do I put that in better terms? I really, for me, I serve, the macro answer is this, Mark. I serve everyone who's ready and willing to either A, work and architect their own personal life, whatever that means to them. If that means, who am I? What's my purpose? What's the deeper meaning? Am I ready to make a transition in my life? And Architect of Being has a 3-segmental series that walks people through that, with an entire worldwide community that supports the journey from all walks of life, various ages, male to female. In my corporate culture, which is the second division, I serve corporations that seek to understand that the model that we all grew up with, and which is the CEO down, right? The CEO is the top, and the CEO, everybody's below the CEO. That model has its place, but there's a better model, in my opinion, that's worked for the last 15, 20 years when I work with cultures. Is the CEO is at the bottom, and we work our way up from the CEO. And it's a double entendre to say, you're the CEO of your soul, and you're also the CEO of these other souls. Your entire job is to empower them and to allow them to be the beautiful, brilliant souls that they are. And all of you work collectively for a common brand, common culture, common good, common product, and create. And so companies that are really looking to reposition their cultures, reposition their product, their brand, their messaging, but do it from a collective perspective versus just profit perspective, is who I tend to serve. And I do that in 2 forms. I either do that as a group macro, where we do it over a several-month period and we work with the entire executive staff, or I am what my nickname is Shadow. I do a lot of shadow CEO work for companies, where I'll come in and I'm the shadow behind the CEO. And I say shadow meaning I'm not there for fame or glory or accolades. In fact, I don't care about any of that. I'm there to help that CEO, male or female, really lead and have the confidence, the security in the space from someone who's been a CEO for well over 25 years myself, and the psychological background and the quasi-spiritual background, if I may be so bold, to say, let's lead the company from the perspective of, this job is not forever. We're all going to get off this planet broken dead. What is the legacy? What is the empowerment of the people and the message that you and your company want to bring, and have a space to do that? And that's how I serve companies. And then the third is just good old-fashioned architecting one-to-one. No different than this conversation you and I are having, and the listeners, of course, is I work with people one-to-one on a basis of helping them architect and get to their own truth. Now, I'm going to be up front with you, Mark, and your audience too. So I want to be right out front. So let's just get it out on the table. I will tell every single person on this planet, and I have, every speech I do, every keynote I do, every radio interview, film, anything that I participate in, or the architect community does, is I don't have any answers, Mark. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't have any answers for anybody. But what I do have is a series of questions and structures that we've designed over 30 years of experience and thousands of people around this planet and companies that will help you understand, wake yourself up to what is your true truth that you keep pushing down into the subconscious of the self to get to the ultimate experience of this thing called life. And do it in a way that you understand what's happening. You have the tools at any given moment to stop and choose your life. Understand the choice, understand where it's coming from, how that became a thing, what you can create it into a thing, and then truly enjoy your journey because, man, it goes by so bloody fast that if we don't get on it, you can blink your eye and you are staring death in the face, and death comes for us all. An architect is a space where you can truly architect your life, your business, your lifestyle, and ultimately where you want to go on this journey we call life. Because again, we are in the beautiful playground called Vacation Planet Earth. And we get to vacation here for X. No one really knows how long you're here. So what would it be like if we could approach ourselves with a systematic step-by-step, because I'm a how-to guy. I'm the guy that had to figure it out because that's just how I work, part of maybe my own Asperger brain, and develop a system that is easily understandable, but truly at the depth, not just rah-rah, because I'm not a rah-rah guy. I'm not very good at that. I tried it. I just kind of stink at it. But really work to get to the results. I've tried the rah-rah thing. I'm good for about 3 minutes. And then I'm like, well, let's ask a really interesting question. And let's dive into the structure of that question and get to the answer. But let's architect our life from a space. If I only had 30 days left to live and I knew I was leaving the planet, would I be doing anything that I'm doing in my life right now? And if listeners, any part of your answer is no, even if you're saying it to yourself underneath your breath, if any part of your answer is no, stop today, right now, and let's look at it. Let's architect to a space where you can create your life, because those thoughts that you hide, those thoughts that you bury, those concepts that you keep burying with distraction will become things in your life, whether you think you can control it or not. Doesn't matter. There is this beautiful part of our subconscious power that creates, even though we think we're in the control. And the illusion is that we think we control. So let's stop. Let's live the life you really want to live, because when it's over, it's over. And you don't want to be there filled with regret, because you can't undo it. But you can change it right now. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad. There's no judgment if you say, I want to change my life right now, because it doesn't feel good, because I don't feel like I'm on par with myself. I don't understand why I keep repeating my patterns, and I keep having these relationship sequences or business sequences, and I'm not just doing what I really want to do when I was young and I was free and I lived by my heart and my emotions, and then I exchanged that somewhere along the line for hope and for doing and just some kind of mediocrity to pass through life, because you're more than that. You always have been. We just hypnotized ourselves to go to sleep for a while, and we forgot how we did it. And wouldn't it be nice if we could architecturally wake ourselves back up quickly with a step-by-step understanding and a skill set that takes us from a rich mindset to a wealthy heart and a wealthy set of skills that we can truly create what we want to create. And that's who I serve.
I love that. And what came to my mind is I'm 38 years old, 39 this year, and I'm just finding the years seem to be speeding up as I get older. They seem to be going quicker. I'm enjoying it more than I have ever done. And everything you're saying just really does resonate with me. And you're talking about real, honest, authentic leadership coming from the art, collaboration. If everyone collaborates together, everyone thrives. So I really do love everything what you're up to, Travis. Now, I really want to talk to you about how thoughts become things. You're featuring in the new movie created by filmmaker for personal development, Douglas Vermeeren. And I really want to know, what is this film about?
Yeah, first of all, yeah, it's a great film. I mean, there's something that we all struggle from, as we talked about earlier in this conversation, is all of us are sitting here, and even now, listeners, take a moment as you're listening to Mark and I have this dialogue and this conversation. There's thoughts that are going through your mind right now, like, gee, I need to go down to the grocery store, or I need to go pick the kids up as soon as I get done listening, or I've got an appointment in 5 minutes. I wish these guys would, give me the value I'm looking for, whatever, or you have all these thoughts coming in. Where do those thoughts come from? And as I said earlier, one of my endeavors before I leave this planet is to change our educational system to teach in school at a very young age how our mind actually works so that people can start to have the skill set to architect a life as opposed to going back to sleep. And this whole film takes a very unique approach. And when Doug invited me to be a part of it, there was my yes came out of my mouth before I even realized that I even said yes, because I understood it's in alignment with how do these thoughts become things? Where do they come from? How is it that I can 1 minute go, Mark, I'm the happiest guy alive. I love what I do. I believe in what I do. I love the community. And then 10 seconds later go, gosh, Travis, that was really stupid to say it that way. You could have said it better. And then I start judging myself. Where do those thoughts come from? Or how come I know I'm in a relationship that I am just trying to put a square peg into a round hole, and I keep pushing it there? Everything in my being tells me, go, it's time to let go. And yet my thoughts will go, well, what will mom and dad think? The whole community is going to think you're stupid if you change your life. What are you doing, Travis? You can't do that. Where do they come from? And yet most of us are tasked with the journey of trying to figure out, how does my mind mess with me so much if I'm in so much control of what I think? And this film really endeavors to dive deep. I know for my contribution to the film, mine is to give an architectural blueprint for the time that I have with the audience, for my part, to say, here are the first 3 hardcore steps that you can architect to start understanding that a thought does not come from your mind. Its origin, believe it or not, comes from way deep down in your guts. Long before you became consciously aware of that thought, it was already percolating down in your gut. You can call that your heart. You can call that your instinct. You can call that your intuition. I call it architect for simplicity. And then it pushes up towards your subconscious. And as that emotion comes up, it then gravitates into the subconscious. And the subconscious takes its directive from the heart and says, okay, this is the feeling of self-doubt. This is the feeling of worry. This is the feeling of anxiety. This is the feeling of not good enough. This is the feeling of I'll never make it. This is the feeling of I'm not really happy. That feeling comes first, and then it pushes up to the subconscious. And the subconscious, being the brilliant computer that it is, it pulls all the memories and experiences that are related to that feeling and then floods up and says, okay, here's all the different ways you can and have experienced that emotion already, and then drives up a thought that says, okay, in order to fulfill that belief that we've been housing in the subconscious, driven and fueled by that feeling, here's a thought that says this: you're not good enough, don't do that, don't look stupid, people are going to judge you, they're going to think you've gone off the rails, you know you're not good enough, stop dreaming, quit, you got it, it's good enough, can't you just be happy with where you are? And it becomes this thought. Now wash, rinse, and repeat that cycle. And we do this 2, 3, 500 times a day over, as you said so eloquently, Mark, an escalating, speeding up effect of our lifetime. As we get older, they seem to go faster. And you compound that effect. And next thing you know, you wake up and you're 38, 39, you're 45, you're 49, you're 60 years old, and you blink and go, holy hell, I think I missed the entire journey. And you have to understand that if you don't dive into the beautiful darkness of yourself, and I'm not talking about darkness like evil and a pitchfork and a tail. I'm talking about the darkness and deep down inside in places inside of all of us. Every listener has this experience now, myself included. There's things down inside, there's beliefs and hurts and traumas and pains that we don't want to talk about, and we have done everything we can. Everything. We spent a lifetime stuffing that down, distracting, sex, drugs, rock and roll, success, image, just filling my day with doing stuff. Because if I have to look in the darkness of myself, I will ultimately have to shed the light on where I've been hurt, where I felt trauma, where I felt pain, where I felt disappointment, where I felt let down. And it hurts so much, I'm scared to go back there. But here's the thing, listeners, and grab a hold of this, because they become things, and they become very quickly. And they do it without your control or your consent, because your little conscious mind, and mine too, is not powerful enough to stop it, is we must look into the beautiful darkness of ourselves and shed the light on where we were hurt, where we've let ourselves down, where we've compromised ourselves, where we have chosen the easier path versus the path of choice, and dive into that emotion and unwind that belief structure before it continues to repeat itself, as it undoubtedly most likely already has in your life. And this whole film takes you down that road, at least for my part. And I know there's other great cast members. All my cast members are phenomenal teachers like myself, who all have a passion for going, hey, the collective between us is 300, 400 years of being in the development and self-transformational world with very specific niches. And so this film is the endeavor to give us the how-to, at least for the time that we have on screen, which is about 75, 80 minutes long, to say, hey, if any one of us on the screen, or all of us, you feel that heart ping, you feel that quick beating behind your chest, like you may be feeling now, where you almost feel like your heart is going to break your rib cage open to say, yes, that's what we're talking about, then listeners, jump into your life right now, because that's your heart. That is your spirit. That is the essence of you. That is the architect within your being, the being of self, the bigger part of you that is saying, wake yourself up. We have been asleep too long. We have hidden in the shadows far, far too many times. And it is time we truly understand how our thoughts continue to compel us to repeat patterns we know we're going to repeat even before we start that journey, in some form of self-punishment, some form of compromise, some form of, I should just accept that good enough is good enough. And this is my lot in life. None of which is true unless you let that thought become a thing, which is fueled in part by the process, at least in simplicity, that I just described. And this film is going to take you down that road of really asking the question, where do your thoughts come from? How does that process work? And how are they becoming things? And then it's going to ask the ultimate question, so I'll ask it right now. Are you ready to really embrace your life, to change it, and architect your life, your lifestyle, and the journey of your lifetime before you miss it? And that's what this film is about.
And my answer to your question is yes, yes, yes. Like you say, Travis, life can be over in a blink of an eye, and we get to an older age, or some people may not even have tomorrow. So it really is good news that all of these things, what we're talking about, buried emotions that really affect us from our childhood, traumas, abuse, and limiting self-beliefs. The good news is all of these things can be changed. We can do something about it. Yes, we have to work on ourselves with personal development, watching great movies like this. But all of these things, anything is possible. You can create any new future that you would like with strong, positive, empowering belief systems, repetition, and taking action. And I just love everything what you're doing. And also, I forgot to mention making good choices as well. You have to really be conscious of the choices that you're making in life. I want to know, in your words, firstly, where are the screenings for this movie? I know there are some in London coming up and all over. And secondly, in your own words, why should people attend the movie screening, and at least they need to see this movie?
Yeah, good question. Well, you can always go to howthoughtsbecomethings.com. You can see the trailers. You can see all the cast members, myself and Doug and Bob Proctor and Dr. DeMartini, Dr. Joe Vitale, John Asraf, Marie Diamond, all of us who are endeavored in this journey and have subscribed our lives to this adventure of helping not just ourselves, most importantly, but others who want to wake themselves up. The first screening, of course, is there in London. That's March 27th. And then it goes straight to LA on the 6th. And then we go to Calgary, Canada on the 8th. And then we start making a world tour with these screenings. Now, every time we do a screening, what's really unique about what we do is it isn't just come watch the film and, hey, that was a really great film, walk out the door and go back asleep to what you just did. We've all done that. You can watch a bunch of other action films and do the same experience. But the way this is designed is if you come to the screening, you get to come to the day event before we screen the film. And at every event, there's different cast members are at different spaces. So you may come and I'm there, Doug's there, John's there, Joe's there at one event. You may go next event and it's Marie or it's Megan and it's, Dr. DeMartini. It doesn't matter. You're going to get one or two of the cast members in front of you, and we're going to go through a half a day experience with you so you can actually learn with us and work with us and start your journey. And then you get to go to the red carpet gala. You get to go to the premiere, and you get to participate, not just with, hey, I'm going to watch a film, but you now understand that you're walking with us who are in the film, because the film isn't about us being superstars and look at, we're great, like a Hollywood film. It's about, hey, we're the messengers of our time. This message of this film is to invite those who are ready to join this message, not to join us individually, although you can. You're going to resonate with each different, teacher in some form or another, and one is going to pull you more than another, and follow your heart. There is no right or wrong. It's where you need to go. And take that journey with us as we continue to walk around the earth together and going, look, until we really understand how our thoughts are becoming things, we are subject to the whims of a mad mind, mostly our own. And so to go to these events is different than just a film premiere. And I've been to many film premieres myself. I'm an Emmy award-winning producer myself. So I've been on the other side of that. And these films are more like an invitation. Come to this film, but before you do, we're going to go through this journey together. We're going to all get some experience. Each cast member that's there is going to teach and train and experiential, and you have an opportunity to participate with whichever one you want or none. And then you get to watch the film. So it's this big, beautiful event and experience as opposed to, hey, I just bought my ticket, get some popcorn. I'm going to go watch a film, and then I'm going to go right back to what I was doing before I watched the film, which I think has been an error for all of us on how we approach these types of films and the self-transformational world. And so as Doug originally laid out the way we were going to do this, I was enthralled because I said, look, I've done the live events. All of us have. We continue to do them around the world. But why not let the film from all of us as a collective, working together cooperatively, each of us our own respective teachers with our own resumes, our own communities, what if we came together and said, hey, let's all drive this thing together and let the audiences participate with us from the perspective of not just watch the film at distance and go, gee, I want to go work with so-and-so. I want to work with Travis. I want to work with Bob. I want to work with Doug. Or I want to work with Joe, whatever. And opposed to you can work with all of us in the film, and you can experience it at the event itself. And you can do it at a price that, comparatively speaking to what you would do if you went to us individually, is peanuts. And I mean that in every aspect of the word. Because you get all of us in one spot, and get all of us together was a challenge. It's not an easy thing to do because we all have very, intense calendars because we're all very passionately into this work. And from going to that experience, you get to experience a totality. You really, and I would analogize it to this, listeners. When you go to buy a car, you generally just don't walk up to the lot and say, I'll buy that car, and you drive off and hope it works out well. You test drive it, you look under the hood, you ask for the specs, you look at the price, you look at different models, which one feels it out. And the way we approach this film and this tour around the world with the film is that you get to talk to us in real time. You get to hear us present the messages that each of us presents. You get to hear the invitation of our hearts. And you get to experience all that, and then you get to watch the film, and then you can decide for yourself. With all the tools that we've given you up front, do I resonate with Travis, or do I resonate with Bob, or do I resonate with Maria? Who do I resonate with most? If anybody, but if nothing else, you at least get to really experience it at a visceral, organic, granular level from each of us before you decide what choice is right for you. And that's such a unique experience, especially in today's world where, everybody and their mother claims to be a life coach just because they can, film a video on their phone. You get to be around all of us who have committed our life's journey to this, where you're talking like great, Dennis Waitley, who is a mentor of mine, who is 87 years old, is in this film. Bob Proctor, same, who are these great leaders that we've all grown up with, are now passing the torch to the next generation and saying, look, it's time. We've done our time. This is our going around. I want to experience this, but these are the next generation of leaders that we feel have come together and are ready to go, and we're all going to do it together. And that makes this super exciting. So get a hold of it, get a part of it, come join this. And if nothing else, you get to experience all of us together, working together for the commonality of inviting people to understand the true process of how thoughts become things. And I think that's what's really going to make your experience grand. The question is, are you ready?
I'm definitely ready. And as you mentioned, what really stood out to me when I watched the trailer, every clip that was coming on of the expert, I was like, oh my word, oh my word, oh my word, because the film is just full with world leading experts within the world of personal development. So that's what made it so exciting for me. And then myself manifesting the opportunity to interview all of you. You just mentioned Dennis. I'm interviewing Dennis this week as well. So I'm very, very excited about that. I just think this film, if you want to move forwards in business, in life, if you're going through struggles, challenges, or if you're at the top of your game, but you want to get to that next level, this film is really varied. It really can help on a large scale, whatever your problems are. And I just can't stress enough. You said you don't all want to be superstars, but when I was looking at the trailer, to me, the film is full of superstars of personal development. So how thoughts become things. People must check out this film. Travis, firstly, I would like to say congratulations on being on the list for top 20 entrepreneurs in Yahoo. So big congratulations on that. My next question I would like to ask, what is new for Travis? What are you working on right now?
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you. And thank you for the compliment as always. I'm really grateful for that. It means a lot. It really does, because this is the love of my life, right? Is the people, waking them up. So thank you. What am I working on? That's a great question. So the answer. One is I have changed my entire process because I never want people to give a barrier to entry. And I know that people come up with excuses and thoughts, again, like we've been talking about the entire interview, that keep giving us the rhetoric of our mind of why we can't change. And so we've changed our entire thing. And you can go to architecting360.com and go there, and you can jump. You can jump into this world that we talk about in architecting, and it's $197, and it's unlimited. You'll get 16 hours of me teaching and training what I teach every architect who goes through our full training academy. You get all my audio programs. You get everything, because I don't want money to be an excuse anymore. Money used to be really important to me when I was young and I was Dr. Fox and thought I knew something and didn't realize that my real passion is just the people. The drug I'm addicted to is watching people wake themselves up. So I've changed that entire model so that everyone can participate and move to that space. I'm going back on tour, obviously with this film and several other endeavors that I'm involved in, and speaking around the world, and committed this entire year and the next 2021 to going wherever I'm invited to go, whether it's an audience of 50 people or 50,000, it doesn't matter. I will accept yes, as long as it's in the invitation of waking ourselves up. The architectural community has grown, and so much so that we are now, and within 2021, our endeavor is to build our first architect retreat center so that people can come. People can come and learn. They can become an architect. Other celebrated graduated architects can go there. And that'll be our journey all the way into 2021. And most importantly, I'm working on myself, Mark. I'm continuing to architect my own journey. As I said at the beginning, I don't have all the answers, people, but I have really good questions. And I will sit with you until you wake yourself up and you're ready, because that's the passion of my life. I'm a teacher and I'm a healer. And that's the things that I know that I'm good at. Beyond that, great Dennis Waitley has said to me, and I endeavor to agree, I've just begun to realize in all my efforting, I am still just but a student, and I'm on the journey as well. And I'm learning how my thoughts become things, and I create from a better space every day, which is more heart-centered versus more mind-centered. Because at the end of the day, none of us are getting off this planet alive. And isn't it time we start living from a space of us versus us and them? And that's what I'm up to.
Well, like I always say, Travis, personal development is a lifelong journey. It's ongoing, and you're doing amazing things in this world. I have really enjoyed having a conversation with you today. My last question is there anything we did not cover that you would like to share?
Thank you. I think the biggest thing is I just would invite the listeners to stop. Don't just listen to this and go, as soon as the interview is over, go right back to what you're doing. Take 5 minutes and just close your eyes. Listen to this question, because there's only one. If you only had 30 days left to live, would you be doing anything you're doing in your life right now? And listen to your heart, not to the excuses of your mind and how all those thoughts that we just talked about and all the other great cast members are going to talk to you about here on Mark's show, and really listen to your heart. And remember, there's only one noble truth on this planet. No matter where you are, what culture you grew up in, what age you are, what gender you are, it doesn't matter. There's only one truth. That is, we're not getting off this planet alive. And the question is, are you really, really, really ready to live your life? If you are, then look at the things you're doing right now and approach your life from a 30-day window. And if that you don't like or it doesn't feel good, are you ready to change? Choose to do something different. You don't have to understand everything. You just need to know that the choice is what you need to make. Because if you don't make a choice, you are going to go back asleep. The same thoughts that you have created will become things again over and over. The players may change, the environment may change, but the thought that's driving it will repeat itself over and over. And you know this, and you continue to make that same choice. That's where the pain is going to come back in. And if you're done being in pain and you're done compromising yourself, choose to step forward, even if you don't fully understand the world you're going into, whether it's with me, whether it's with Doug, with Bob, or Joe, or John, it doesn't matter. Even if it's just sitting with yourself, which is the most important, do it. Do it now. No one gets out of this life alive. There is no way around it. No matter how much sex, drugs, and rock and roll you think you can consume to distract yourself, you will come back to this truth. And do not let a day go by where you are not living with what your heart actually says, because there is an intelligence side inside of you and inside of me, inside of you, Mark, that is far more intelligent than our little brain will ever be. And if we just have the courage to move from compromise to courage, which is a 1-inch move, it's a 1-inch move from your head to your heart, your life can change instantly. I know that sounds like too good to be true, and it sounds like rah-rahism, but it's not, family. I'm telling you from my own journey. You can go look me up. I'm out there just like all the other great teachers, and see for yourself where we have created. We are no better than you. We are no different than you. We have only done one thing. We've moved the inch from compromise to courage. And I know it's scary, and I know your mind's going to tell you all of these wonderful, horrible things that are going to happen. And guess what? None of them are true unless you let them become things. And then you are subject to the whims of a mad mind. Jump into your life today. Architect it out. It is your journey. And your soul demands it. Your spirit demands it. Follow your heart, and let's enjoy it. And as Mark said, if it feels good, get involved. If it doesn't, have the courage to stop compromising yourself. and stop and do it in a beautiful way, because life goes by really fast. And I look forward to seeing you at one of the premieres of How Thoughts Become Things with myself and my fellow castmates, and jump into your life fast. That's all I've got.
Travis, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. I can hear the passion for what you are sharing, and I've just enjoyed it thoroughly. And my last question is if anyone would like to reach out and ask you any questions, or if people would like to connect with you, what is the best way for people to follow you or connect with you?
Yeah, sure. You can go to travisfox.net. So it's my name, travisfox.net. And you can converse with me there on the website. We have online events. We have offline events. You can work with me one-to-one. I can come to your company. Whatever you need, I'm there. It's there for you. If you want to follow me on social media, it's easy. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are all the same. It's Travis Fox 360. That's in Travis Fox 360. You can see me on Instagram. I go live. You can see me on Facebook. You can see me on Twitter. You can see me on LinkedIn. And I'm easily found, or you can always go to our YouTube channel, which is Travis Fox, Architect of Being. And there's just tons of videos on how thoughts become things and how you change your life that are there for your taking. Again, we're back to the same thing. Pick any one of those social media things, come find us. And if worse comes to worse, find me on howthoughtsbecomethings.com and come, step. You don't have to know the whole journey. All you have to know is the next step. And I know that there's some of you right now that are feeling it. I can feel your heartbeats are beating through your chest. I know that feeling. Just jump. Just go to the next step. It will unfold by itself in this beautiful thing called the adventure of a lifetime. Jump on it. Let's go. And I'll see you on social media. And yes, it is me that answers my social media. My team doesn't answer for me. I actually answer all my own. So for those of you out there who think that it's just my team, it's not. It's me. This is what I do all day, every day, for the rest of my life as long as I'm here, because this is the drug I'm addicted to. Let's wake ourselves up and let's live our butts off before the time is over. That's all I got.
Travis, what a great way to finish the show. Thank you so much for being my guest. I've just had such a great hour's conversation with you. It's been totally fascinating.
Thank you. Pleasure and honor, and thanks for letting me be on the show. And I look forward to anytime you want me there, Mark. I'm there. Just call and ask, and I'll make sure it happens. Thank you very much. And thank you to your listeners. And thanks for asking really quality questions. I'm really grateful. I appreciate the quality questions, and thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Travis. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.